Hello and welcome to a short podcast about digital media and information literacy. Today we'll be talking about student competencies and misinformation when doing education. Student competencies are combinations of skills, attitudes, and knowledge that students develop and apply for successful learning. So some of these student competencies that you're going to want for students to have in a historical classroom setting are creative thinking, problem-solving skills, and critical thinking are probably the most important ones. Critical thinking is the most important as it allows for better abilities to analyze historical texts and documents, which is important as does a lot of what historians do. We read documents and text to understand lives and societies, and in this case, we're going to talk about the Romans. So we're talking about misinformation. There's a lot that has happened with the Romans in the form of misinformation. One of the biggest things is that Romans are commonly depicted wearing togas. Now, they did wear togas, but they're often portrayed as being the common wear of clothing that Romans wore. And this was not all true. The toga was really used more as formal wear to display a societal ranking or political status. Another form of misinformation that we see is actually regarding Julius Caesar. When Caesar was killed by the members of his parliament, it was said that his words were "E tu, Brutus," which comes from the Shakespeare play, but in reality, we do not know what his final words were. Shakespeare made up those words as just a way to end off the play, so we really don't know what Caesar actually said in his final moments. Now, gladiators are a very notable figure of entertainment when it comes to the Romans. They're often displayed as being in these battles in the Colosseum, which they did do, but often in media it showed that they fought to the death, which is not true. They didn't actually fight to the death, and it was more of a formal fight. Now, how can we prevent kind of misinformation from happening and where it comes from and why you'd believe it? Misinformation happens a lot because of pop culture, especially in Hollywood, where you have all these movies about the Romans, and directors and writers will add these aspects to make them seem more dramatic, and that's a large reason of why we have these historical misinformations and why they get spread around, because people see them in movies and think that, oh, that's awesome, but in reality it's a lot, they're upplaying it for the purpose of entertainment. And to prevent misinformation, especially in an educational environment, and you want to show students that, hey, this is what is shown, this is what pop culture shows, but this is what actually happens. While some aspects of it may be true, for the most part, a lot of it is upsold. Thank you for tuning into my podcast about digital media and information literacy.